We apologize for that slight technical difficulty. Thanks for watching the Times News. You're with me, Miriam Mundambo. And first, the headlines. President Lazarus Chakwera warns foreign employers against violating rights of workers. The border demarcation exercise hits a snag due to underfunding. Alliance for Democracy says it will still hold its elective convention this year. We have these and many other stories. Stay tuned. President Lazarus Chakwera has warned foreign employers that they will have no place in Malawi if they violate the rights of workers. The president made the remarks on Saturday when he hosted Malawi Congress of Trade Unions 2021 Labor Day commemorations held at Zodiak Palace in Blantyre. Saulos Chilima has more on this report.
President Lazarus Chakwera said his government is trying all level-based to making sure that the rights of workers are protected by ensuring the labor laws are followed. He then said in the new Malawi, no worker should be denied freedom of association or discriminated against. He said when it comes to skilling for new jobs, it is the COVID-19 pandemic itself that has changed the world of work forever, and so the workforce must be equipped with new skills needed for the jobs of post-COVID world.
In the new Malawi we are building, no workers should be denied freedom of association. In the new Malawi we are building, no worker should be discriminated against. In the new Malawi we are building, no worker should be paid below the new minimum wage we have put in effect since I took office. In the new Malawi we are building, tenancy labor, forced labor, and child labor will all be abolished. In the new Malawi we are building, no foreign person who employs Malawians and mistreats them will continue to have the privilege of living here. In the new Malawi we are building, everyone's work matters and laziness is unacceptable.
On reports that Mabedo David Whitehead is planning to lay off about 1,000 employees, Deputy Minister of Labour, Verakam Tugule, said her ministry is handling the matter.
Usually the people in the ministry were telling me that whenever they get a letter informing them that the company is laying off people, usually it's just noted, please let us know when you're going to do this and ensure that all labor laws have been observed and all of that. But then I thought 1,000 people is a lot of people. Like I was saying in my statement, for us 1,000 people is just not the 1,000 that are going to be affected.
Expansion of social cash transfer to ease challenges Malawians are facing due to COVID-19 pandemic.
On the social protection, we are actually asking government to come up with a law to emphasize on this law of social security, to make sure that when employees are actually in this pandemic or in such pandemics like the one that we have at the moment, then they should be able to live. They should be able to pay them or to give them some money that can actually subsidize their problems at home, because even after the pandemic is gone, I'm sure the employer will still need these workers.
Labor Day falls on May 1st every year, and the theme for this year is decent work, key to economic recovery amid this COVID-19 pandemic. The president also joined the solidarity walk from Sanjika Palace main gate.
In a related development, Chairperson for Kasungu Civil Servants Trade Union Stanley White has asked Malawi government to deliberately put policies that can reduce the salary gap between the executive and the employees at lower grade. White told Times that this should be part of the government's agenda. Rebecca Chimjeka has more on this report, read by Fale Banda.
According to White, this is the only way to mitigate the impacts of gaps between all employees at both private and public sectors.
Some people are selling labor at very high prices. For example, executives, those in top management like in public service, whereas those who sells labor in low grades, they are selling labor at very low prices. So there is a very wide discrepancy. So we would want as much as possible the government to put policies maybe to try and shorten the gap so that there can be a good distribution of income.
On her part, Longwe Best Business Lady has asked government to move and to introduce and to strengthen social protection mechanism to small-scale business owners. World Labor Day is commemorated on the first day of the month of May every year.
The Department of Surveys in Ministry of Lands has bemoaned lack of funding facilitates smooth operation in the border demarcation. This exercise, which is between Malawi and Zambia as well as Mozambique, the surveyor General Julius Kchisi recently said the projects were only given 70 million kwacha, which is far from the 500 million kwacha that is needed for the scheduled activities this year. This was disclosed when the officials met the International Relations Committee of Parliament to update them on the progress made so far.
We are indeed undertaking a boundary demarcation with Zambia, Malawi-Zambia boundary demarcation. And then we are also undertaking Malawi-Mozambique boundary reaffirmation. Yeah, in terms of challenges, mostly inadequate funding provided for these two projects. We have a deadline. The African Union set a deadline of 2022. So the planned activities, joint planned activities with our neighbors is that come November 2022, we have to finalize the drafting and sign the boundary treaty.
Chairperson of the Parliamentary International Relations Committee, Patrick Bandawe, said committee would lobby for more funds to complete the works.
According to what they have presented, it has really given the committee the first-hand information, actually the official information that as a country we were looking for. And we have promised them, because they are complaining that they have a shortfall of money. We have assured them that we'll try to lobby so that they have enough money and they finish the exercise.
Alliance for Democracy Affords says it will still hold its elective convention this year. The party's plans to hold the convention earlier failed due to COVID-19 pandemic. The interim party has roped 23 members into various positions of the party politburo. The party's president, Enoch Chihana, has since said this will not compromise their plans of holding elective convention as other quarters have contended. From Mzuzu, Sam Kalimira reports.
Alliance for Democracy Afford this week appointed 23 party members to work in different portfolios of the party on interim basis. The position have been endorsed by National Executive Council. Afford President Enoch Chihana said party members should not be worried, saying the party will still hold an elective convention. Chihana said the National Executive Council decided to appoint some members into the various positions so that they help to put up the party's structures at the grassroots before convention.
You cannot go to a convention with a skeleton. You have to make sure that you are strong as you are going to the convention so that you also come out of the convention very strong. And also people who are nominated in those positions, they can begin looking at how they could do their campaign prior to the convention. Disadvantage because sometimes it may not be the desire of the majority. It is better that the majority are given a chance to choose by themselves.
Some notable people appointed are Elias Wakudagamanga as Deputy Secretary General, Betha Masiku as Deputy Head of Women, and Patricia Nzumala as Deputy Publicity Secretary, among others.
The Scaling Up Nutrition Project has helped reduce cases of malnutrition among under 5 children in Neno, Chikwawa, Mulanje, Mangochi, and other districts where the project is being implemented. The project is being implemented by the Malawi Red Cross Society with funding from UNICEF. Head of the health programs at Malawi Red Cross Society, Dan Banda, said the project has empowered communities in the 4 districts with various interventions and aimed at improving nutrition using locally available resources. He was speaking during a media tour in the 4 district. Selina Tambula has more in this report.
Among the activities the media observed in the 4 districts were trainings of communities on how to cook nutritious foods for children using locally available resources, rearing of various livestock such as rabbits, cultivating backyard gardens, weighing and monitoring of children's weight to determine whether the children are malnourished or not, and training of communities on how they can address issues of malnutrition. In Neno district, at Mposadala village, which is a hard-to-reach area, one of the promoters under the project, Soko Sekamenya, explains what they do as promoters.
What we do is that we go around households with under 5 children and we weigh them using various methods.
Among one of the interventions in Mulanje, the media observed how communities are able to monitor the weight of under 5 children as one way of observing whether they are healthy or not. One of the beneficiaries from John Zintuli village is Alice Chipangula, who has a 6-month-old baby.
I joined this project so that my child should benefit, and ever since I started, I've seen great change in my child's health.
According to Dan Banda, who is head of health programs at Malawi Red Cross Society, such interventions have significantly reduced cases of malnutrition in the 4 districts.
The whole idea is to looking at the 1,000 days of life of a child, because studies show that this 1,000 days of life is very crucial in somebody's life. So we are looking at that first 1,000 days of life for a child. Now we are trying to make sure that we are providing all the necessary nutrients to the child for the development, cognitive and physical development of his life. The project mainly is looking at nutrition specific and nutrition sensitive interventions.
Communities in the 4 districts are also encouraged to observe various hygiene and sanitation practices, such as building pit latrines and washing hands, to reduce incidents of diarrhea and other related diseases among children and the communities at large.
You're watching Times News. Stay right there. We'll be back after this break.
Tipolole kungonjezera mayunits atnm kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi.
Our premium range paints, innovative paint and color technology in every drop. Available in Blantyre, Build Africa and Limbi Corner Mart Building, and in Lilongwe along M12 Road close to Gateway Mall. Tropical paints, your world in color.
And welcome back. In an effort to complement government efforts in keeping the country clean, students from Exploits University undertook a cleaning exercise in Luzulu Market in Lilongwe. One of the students, Grace Banda, said the exercise was to improve sanitation and hygienic standards to prevent the spread of disease such as cholera. And the chairperson of Luzulu Market, Ronald Mzima, hailed the students for their support. Aubrey Kapalamula has something for this story.
The students cleaned the Luzulu market in order to improve its sanitation and prevent possible outbreak of cholera. Banda said the exercise was also part of supporting the community.
It's good because we're trying to keep the environment clean. As it is a business area, we're supposed to keep it clean because it's where some food products are being sold. And it's also making the university be representative because this is not being done in other universities. So it's really good.
Chairperson of Lizulu Market, Ronald Nzima, hailed the students for their support.
We are very grateful for them so that they have come to clean our market. You know, hygiene is...
While others have constructed houses.
And in international news, amidst the surge of COVID-19 cases in India and other parts of the world, the Biden administration remains non-committal on a proposal to loosen patent restrictions to those countries that manufacture generic versions of the coronavirus vaccines. White House correspondent Patsy Windikasura has this report.
Desperate Indians wait in line for vaccinations as the country's coronavirus crisis deepens, with the daily death toll climbing above 3,600.
We are searching oxygen all over India, all over Delhi, to Chandigarh, Ludhiana, Haridwar, Jaipur, and all our nearby cities.
In October 2020, at the World Trade Organization, India and South Africa proposed the so-called TRIPS waiver, which would allow countries to make generic versions of the vaccine. The proposal continues to languish without backing from the European Union and the United States. 100 million Americans have been fully vaccinated against COVID-19. But speaking on board Air Force One on Friday, White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said President Joe Biden still has not decided on vaccine patent waivers.
Our overall objective is to provide as much supply to the global community and do that in a cost-effective manner.
Waiver proponents, including the progressive wing of Biden's Democratic Party and humanitarian organizations, say that it could be a game changer in the global fight against the pandemic.
I think the TRIPS waiver is one of the critical tools that can empower government to address the current situation of scarcity of supply.
But the administration is also under pressure from pharmaceutical companies who say that rather than waiving patents, the quickest way to help countries in need is by accelerating existing production lines and donating doses. An intellectual property waiver would not help accelerate COVID-19 vaccine access or address the very real supply chain and logistical constraints, an industry spokesperson told VOA. Even Bill Gates, the billionaire philanthropist and driving force behind COVAX, the UN mechanism to improve low and middle income countries' access to vaccines, is against waiving patents.
It makes very little sense. And this is a mistake on his part. And sometimes we should listen to billionaires when it comes to things on global health, but sometimes we really shouldn't. And this is one where we don't want to listen.
To reduce global vaccine inequity, Gates is instead pushing for technology transfer, where the private sector invests in new manufacturing capacity and shares know-how with emerging economies. He spoke at the Munich Security Conference in February.
Part of the way to solve that inequity is to get factories in India up in full speed. That's already happening with AstraZeneca. It'll happen with two of the others. And to get the financing.
The proposal to waive vaccine patent is supported by more than 80 WTO members, 60 former heads of states, and 100 Nobel Prize winners. It will again be in focus at the